one of the members of the group tonight is going to give testimony, and it is a testimony that some of you have heard simply because you've been around a long time, as has this testimonial giver. So, would you please welcome Mr. Homer Temple to come up? And we're going to hope he doesn't sneeze during the meeting.
Okay, everybody.
We're standing up there. You can do whatever you want.
All right. So, hello everyone. Peter wanted me to keep this short, so I'll blaze through it. Over 65 years ago, my folks moved to California and they drugged me along. And shortly after that, they got divorced, unfortunately. So my mom raised me by herself. She's with the Lord, so you don't have to pray for her now. But, anyway, we moved a lot because my two sisters are out here with their families. They're actually my half-sisters from my mom's first marriage, so we kind of followed them around. And wherever my mom went, I went. So when I would start a new school, because of my name, the first recess was usually a fight or two. So my mom didn't figure this out until maybe about the third school I went to, when I wear grubby clothes to go to my first day of school. Why are you doing that? Well, I'm just going to get, in trouble. And back then, if you got in a fight with some other kids, it wasn't a capital offense. But anyway, I learned I got a hard shell, and I was a loner. And as I went through life, I got to a point where, I'm just gonna look everybody in the eye, and if it turns into something bad, too bad. So at a certain point, and you all in this room, I can safely say, when you look back at your first years before you knew Christ, you knew now that He knew you. And He was always had His hand on your life. No matter how messed up you made it, or how circumstances were, any of that stuff. So anyway, at a certain point, and I was a child of the 60s, I did everything that was bad, and my phone's going off, sorry. So at a certain point, I met a man who had just become a Christian. And keep in mind, all during this time, my mom was a very spiritual person, but she would not go in the right direction. Rosicrucian, Science of Mind, she even did Scientology, Worldwide Church of God, the whole schmear. And I actually came to Christ before she did. But what happened was I heard the gospel through this man who was just a neat guy. And at first, hey, this is a great deal. I'm taking the deal. Christ offers me this deal, so I'm going to take it. And I kind of took it on my own terms. Well, that doesn't work out too well. So at a certain point, I had to change jobs. I got laid off from AT&T. I lateral over Pac-Bell, and I met a guy who was going to Raul Reese's church. And Raul Reese at the time believed you could lose your salvation. So Jim and I would debate about this, only I had no ammunition. He could do Hebrews and all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but no way. He can't give you something and take it away. I mean, and then he hit me with some more scripture, so I was at a loss. And then I realized, some of you all know Dave Thompson. Dave Thompson and I used to carpool to work together. So we would listen to J. Vernon McGee in the morning on the radio, and really, Grace is where I truly came to Christ. And it was just, that's how God works sometimes. And thankfully, even though you might think I had a kind of a rough childhood or whatever, I really look back on my life and I feel blessed. I'm blessed. My mom loves me. Usually in a single parent family like that, the one you're with denigrates the one you're not with. And my mom never did that. So I was always grateful for that. And she always loved me. I knew she did, in spite of how I made life tough on her as I got older. But Peter mentioned tonight the thing we used to do here quite a bit called creation, destruction, rescue, and response. Bless you. So you see creation, rescue, and response, or creation, destruction, rescue in the first 3 chapters of Genesis. And the rest of Scripture really has to do with our response to that. And when we respond correctly, that means we have a responsibility. And we're not going to save anyone, you all know that. But we have to live our lives in such a way that people see that and wonder. Yeah, maybe they just wonder now. But I wear this, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own. See what I get for expression? Lean not on your own understanding, but acknowledge him in all your ways, and he will make your paths and mine straight. So, I don't know if that's a testimony, but there you go.
Of course it's a testimony. Of course it's a testimony. I often wonder, what was Homer Temple like as a kid? I know. Yeah. But somehow I have a feeling there's a line that says you should see the other guy in Homer's testimony. Anyway, thank you, Homer. I really do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. And one of the highlights of my ministry life here at Grace was years ago when I think we were actually still, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we were still doing our Easter services in the Master's Gym at the old property. And we were doing a medley of stuff, and I just asked Homer to sing one verse of the old Rugged Cross. And I still remember it. And there are moments like that where it's like the whole universe just comes together and says, this is God, and that's one of them. So anyway, thank you, Homer. I appreciate that.